Hello my Whoop friends. This video is part of a short video series where I try to share my experiences with the Meteor 75 Pro with you, as well as all my Whoop knowledge. I'll try to show you valuable tips and tricks that should help you with the Meteor 75 Pro Whoop as well as with other tiny Whoops. Check out the other videos on my channel to get the most out of my many years of Whoop race and RC flying experience. Let's get started.
Hello my Whoop friends. As you saw in my last video, the motors on my new Meteor 75 Pro Matrix started stuttering after about 100 to 150 lipos. This means that one or more of the motors are not starting properly and are stuttering. And the Whoop cannot take off. If you unplug and plug the connector back in or move the connector vigorously, it will work for a few flights. This problem is really frustrating. On top of this, the connectors eventually become more resistant, which leads to greater voltage sag, less power, and shorter flight times. At some point the Whoop is practically unflyable. That's why I stopped flying with motor connectors for a long time and solder my motor cables directly to the solder pads on the flight controller. I show you how to do this in the video No Motor Plugs Equals More Fun, how to remove motor plugs on a Meteor 75 Pro on this YouTube channel. However, I know that many people cannot solder and would like to fly with motor connectors. That's why I made this video you're watching right now. I'm doing my best to help you, using all my experience to do so. Many people initially think that the problem can be solved with different ESC settings. But unfortunately, that's not possible. The cause of the problem is electrical fretting on the pins and sockets of the motor connectors. Electrical fretting on the terminals. Electrical fretting is a combination of mechanical damage to the metal contact surfaces in movement and micro vibrations, resulting in corrosion. This damage then leads to higher electrical resistance in the connector connection. Electrical fretting can be minimized or even avoided. I'll come back to this later in the video. The interesting thing is that I can see more electrical fretting on the Meteor 75 Pro than on my other older boards. It's possible that the Meteor 75 Pro has more vibrations or movement of the connector. This could be due to the relatively short motor cables, or the connectors could be of poor quality. I'll contact Betafpv soon, show this video, and ask if an improvement is possible. Perhaps with a higher quality connector. As a first step, I tried cleaning the connectors on my Betafpv Meteor 75 Pro Matrix with contact cleaner spray. I used Teslanol T6 contact cleaner. I sprayed the pins on the flight controller and the connector sockets with it. Then I plugged and unplugged the connectors a few times. Finally, I sprayed them again with contact cleaner. With some hope, I went on a test flight. The flight was great. It was a beautiful evening. But the motor sputtering returned. Somewhat disappointed, I tackled the problem again. I then tried cleaning the pins. The problem is that the pins are extremely close together. The distance between the pins is about 1 millimeter. At first, I tried cleaning the pins by securing a small screwdriver with kitchen paper and adhesive tape. But the kitchen paper wasn't strong enough. I then tested many materials. The best of the fabric materials was a strip of cleaning rag. I wrapped the piece of fabric around the screwdriver and taped it in place. Then I sprayed contact cleaner onto the fabric. I tried cleaning each pin individually. Unfortunately, the results weren't satisfactory. Because I know from experience that electrical fretting can be easily cleaned with an eraser, I tried that as well. I always did this with my linear servos using a white eraser. However, I was able to disassemble the linear servos easily. This gave me good access to the contact surface. The big problem with the motor connectors is the limited space between the pins. The eraser, too, wasn't strong enough when I wrapped it around the screwdriver. Only now did I get the idea that I could glue a thin strip of rubber to the screwdriver with UHU-POR. Unfortunately, this only occurred to me now, but I doubt it would have worked well. The rubber seal wears out quickly. Gluing a new seal for each pin would be very tedious. And the problem of cleaning the other side of the connector, the socket, would still exist. I really tried a lot of things. I even used a Dremel polishing attachment, which wasn't sturdy enough. And also a rubber band. In the end, a very thin rubber band worked best. The contact surfaces were noticeably cleaner. Not perfect, but visibly better. After cleaning, I sprayed them again with Teslanol T6 contact spray. Full of hope, I went on a test flight. For a few lipos, it worked very well, and the motors didn't stutter. And the voltage sag was gone too. I was about to open the champagne bottle, but after about the 10th lipo, the motor stuttering started again. Dang it. While editing the video, I found a terminal cleaner tweezer tool online. Perhaps it would have been possible to sand down the pins a bit with this tool. Or I could have glued some sandpaper or a very thin strip of rubber to my tweezers with UHU core glue. The sockets would still be a problem, though. The sockets could also be cleaned somehow. It's certainly possible to clean the motor connectors. But in my opinion, cleaning the motor connectors is too much work. If there's an aggressive contact cleaner spray that doesn't require mechanical cleaning, then it would be possible to clean the motor connectors. Anything else is too time-consuming and the results are too poor. If you have any other ideas on how to clean the motor connectors, please let me and the other pilots know in the comments. I finally decided to desolder the motor connectors like I do with all my tiny whoops. I soldered the motor cables directly to the solder pads of the Matrix flight controller. It's possible even if the flight controller is already in the frame. But it's tedious, I can tell you. The easiest way would probably be to build a 75 Pro from individual parts using a Betafpv 5-in-1 air flight controller, which has larger solder pads. If you absolutely want to fly with motor connectors, then I recommend that you take preventative measures with your new Meteor 75 Pro. Be sure to watch the videos on electrical fretting, which I have linked to in the description of this video. One option is to coat the pins with a very small amount of conductive grease. But only a very small amount. Otherwise a short circuit will occur because conductive grease is conductive, as the name suggests. You would have to work very carefully. That is why I don't think conductive grease is really suitable in this case. The risk of a short circuit is too great with this type of connector. The second option is to put some dielectric grease on the pins. Or to fill the connectors completely with dielectric grease. Yes, that's actually what you do. Be sure to watch the videos on dielectric grease, which I have linked to in the description of this video. The grease would then also dampen the movements a little. I would also apply a rubber adhesive like UHU Core or E6000 to the connectors to prevent the movement that triggers electrical fretting. The adhesive would also keep the grease inside the connector. The third option would be to apply a little Stabilin 22 to the pins. Unfortunately, Stabilin 22 is very expensive. Here, too, I would also apply a rubbery adhesive such as UHU Core or E6000 to the connectors to prevent the movement that triggers electrical fretting. Please watch all the videos on conductive grease, dielectric grease, and Stabilin 22, which I have linked to in the video description, if you want to fly your Meteor 75 Pro with motor connectors. All these anti-electrical fretting measures somewhat compromise the ease and convenience of changing motors. Of course, the effort is still less than soldering, but personally, I prefer soldering, even if I have to solder 3 times before it works. Please let me know if you have or are using any of the different methods. Perhaps one of you can find a more aggressive contact cleaner spray. A quick spray and then carry on flying would certainly be great. But I think that's an illusion. I believe that real improvement of the Meteor 75 Pro connector problem can only be achieved by taking the anti-electrical fretting measures mentioned in this video before the first flights. I hope I was able to show you with this video what often causes motor stuttering and motor problems, and what options there are to avoid electrical fretting from the start. I also hope I was able to show you why I eventually decided to fly without motor connectors and solder my motor cables directly to the flight controller. And why other pilots no longer fly with motor connectors, even though I unfortunately couldn't provide you with a simple, ready-made solution here. You now have the knowledge and inspiration to continue looking for solutions yourself. For me, the topic of motor connectors is history, but I understand that beginners and soldering novices like to fly with motor connectors. That's why I made this video. I hope I was able to provide a bit of educational work with this video. Help you understand how motor connectors work, and prepare you for what to expect and what you can do if you want to use motor connectors. I think in summary, you need to take preventative measures if you want to fly with your motor connectors for more than 200 flights.
In the coming months, there will be a few more videos about the Meteor 75 Pro. How you can modify it, how you can repair it, and so on. Stay tuned, my friends. And subscribe to the channel and set the notifications to on, so you don't miss a single video. And last but not least, you can already find many videos of the Meteor 75 Pro on this channel in which I try to help you with this tiny whoop. lots of tutorials, tuning tips, flight tips and repair videos. And there will be even more in the future if I am motivated enough by you, my friends. Stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel and activate the notification if you want to know when I publish a new video. And if you decide to buy a new Meteor 75 Pro or another Whoop from Betafpv, please use the affiliate link in the video description. This motivates me to publish more high quality videos. A like or a comment from you also helps motivate me to produce new videos with educational content. In other words, you will probably have the most videos for this Whoop and the best support in the future if all goes well. I can't promise anything, but I'll do my best. The chances are good.
I've also made many other posts with educational content in my YouTube community. It's worth checking out the posts. There are even a few tips I haven't made a video about it yet. So be sure to check them out. Maybe you can learn something from them that will make your whoop life a little easier.
Happy flying, my Whoop friends!